Right, I'm gonna get this. I'm pretty sure I'm pointing the right direction. I can never remember. Yeah, this... Nope, that way. That way, okay. Oh my goodness. Hello, and welcome everybody to tonight's fantastic dinosaur action. Stampede Dinosaurs in Explorer on Arena. There's not a whole lot I'm scared of, and that's what brings us to Divine Smite. You might be thinking, shouldn't the dinosaur deck be scared of quite a bit? Various removal from the opponent, but this is not the most common type of dinosaur deck. Oh, and I do only play dinosaurs. If you're wondering, how'd you get on this? Well, I'd be happy to get into it, but for most of you, many of you know what the deal is. And you may have seen Divine Smite actually help in an Amalia Explorer, Abzan Amalia Explorer deck, match I faced. Fortunately, the opponent made a couple missteps in that particular match. They took out a Sunken Citadel when they should have taken out a Castle Garenbrig, I think. Something like that. That was extra interesting. But, as always, as usual, even though I'm completely up for making a budget dinosaur list, doing some more brawl matches on Arena, Pioneer Leagues, you name it. You got a question or you want to see a type of video, I can do it. However, tonight, Divine Smite feels right. It is a delight when you get to exile Amalia for 1 and a white. This is the bright light. Okay. That's enough rhyming for now, but target creature or planeswalker an opponent controls phases out. What does that mean? Permanents that phase out and anything attached to them are treated as if they don't exist until the start of their controller's next turn. So that could be good if the target is not black, if it's a big scary creature or a planeswalker. At the end of the opponent's turn, we make that thing temporarily go away, cease to exist until it comes back around to their turn, but it's at the end of it. So for my entire turn, one big bad scary creature or one big bad scary planeswalker is not there. It's not removal, but it might be all I need. One turn of it not existing to get the job done. That could be what's holding me back. But if it is black, Amalia is white and black. Shieldred, of course, Greasefang. If we ever face off against Greasefang, Divine Smite is going to be absolutely lovely. We could have destroy effects, and Greasefang decks do have ways of cheating Greasefang or getting it back from the graveyard. But this is exile based, so they would never have that opportunity with Can't Stay Away, potentially some other things to reanimate Greasefang. So quite nice. Again, I don't remember the last time I have faced Greasefang in Explorer. On Arena, it's mostly non-existent, maybe for a lot of you guys as well. But we could also just exile the Vein Ripper. That would be, pretty decent. I don't have a whole lot of early creatures, so if the Vampire's opponent gets the Vein Ripper down on turn 3, chances are it's going to be rough. It's going to be rough. But if it's gone on a little bit, maybe they didn't start out with the Vein Ripper. By the time it lands, it comes back around to me. I have Divine Smite and boom. Although I'm not particularly interested in bringing it in against the Vampires deck. That's what I have Leyline of Sanctity for. Protecting against the Thought Seizes from the Vampires' opponent's duress as well. But also Vein Ripper itself. We still take damage because it is a flying creature, but its ability is targeted for anybody that isn't aware. So if I have hexproof, whenever a creature dies, that just simply doesn't happen. I don't lose 2, they don't gain 2. Well, that's enough to buy me time, I think. If the Vein Ripper comes down on turn 4, that might be just slow enough. Turn 3, it's kind of rough, but Leyline is still staying in. Of course, for mono black waste, not targeting me to make me discard a lot of cards. And I know some of you guys have been using Leyline of Sanctity as well. It's pretty cheap in paper too. It can't hurt to try something that so clearly is going to help you in a particular matchup. Hey, Mono black waste not without this has to feel fairly miserable, I would imagine. Seeing all your cards get discarded, all the best ones, maybe the opponent leaves you with just a bunch of lands, and then you draw more lands, and dang! Oh. Well, not fun. Not fun at all. Otherwise, everything is, well, it's not pretty much the same. I did change quite a bit. Up the Beanstalk instead of Commune with Dinosaurs. Now, Commune with Dinosaurs does greatly increase the consistency. 1 green, look at the top 5, grab a dinosaur or a land. Usually if I'm casting it in the early game, I'm grabbing a land. But sometimes I didn't even grab a land. It's kind of rough. I just wanted more card draw. I felt that could be better. I missed it. So Up the Beanstalk is back. That's basically it. I think Up the Beanstalk will feel better, just getting me more cards. 1 Commune with Dinosaurs would get me 1 thing, whether that's a land or a dinosaur. Up the Beanstalk would replace itself. It would get 1 thing when I cast it, when it enters, and then any other creature in the deck, literally any other creature, I would draw off of it. How many do I have? 28. Almost a third of the deck triggers Up the Beanstalk. Even if it was only 20 creatures with a mana value 5 or greater, that would be a good case for it. But when you get to 28, it's got to make sense. I don't see how I couldn't use it. The decks that use Up the Beanstalk seem to have even less than 20, 18, 16 cards that have a mana value 5 or greater. Of course, this does seem very crazy to people who may be unfamiliar, but you know, I think I might convert you, hopefully. I didn't just jinx myself, but yeah, 28 creatures, all triggering this. Play Up the Beanstalk, draw a card. Vaultborn Tyrant, when we play it, we draw a card from the Beanstalk, and when it enters, good to dig through and get to Ghalta's Stampede Tyrant, which is a very positive point. With the Vaultborn out, plus the Beanstalk, drawing a bunch of stuff, when I cast Ghalta, I get a trigger off Up the Beanstalk. That trigger could draw me some other creature. It might be the necessary Regisaur Alpha or Palani's Hatcher. Before Ghalta lands, boom, I draw the Regisaur, I get to give everybody haste, everybody attacks, and I kill the opponent. That's the main best goal. But also Vaultborn is out, so when Ghalta enters, it triggers Vaultborn before Ghalta's ability resolves, and then I get another draw from entering, from casting, so that's 2 chances to draw into something bigger and better and make the Ghalta Stampede Tyrant plan even more deadly. But even if that plan doesn't happen, of course the backup is just lovely. Play Tyrranax Rex ahead of the curve, turn 4, sometimes turn 5. It's a big thing, hard to deal with. Kill the opponent, thumbs up. Yeah, and Nurturing Bristleback. More turn 2 plays, either that's Beanstalk, Sylvan Scrying, or the Bristleback with the Forest Cycling again. Pretty necessary, and worst case scenario, I have Up the Beanstalk, I'm able to... Oh, okay. So I joined another Discord recently, more for the Spike tournament-focused side of things, but you know what? We can do it. On stream. Casualenterprise. Oh boy, watch out. This is gonna be fun. Okay. Strap yourselves in. A little bit of a tangent here, but yeah, you got the idea. Still using the red cards. Blast Zone is in there to, well, give me a hard to counter way to get rid of creatures with a mana value of 1 or 2, depending if I crank and put the charge counters on there. Do I like the looks of this? Well, I do like Sylvan Scrying. I would like if I saw a castle or a sunken. You know what? I'm going to try for something worse. Oh my goodness, that is definitely worse. Okay, that got quite a bit better. I think I should really just put Regisaur. Yeah, Regisaur to the bottom. Regisaur and Cavern of Souls with Castle Garenbrig, Forest, and Temple Garden. I'm able to go Archdruids to search and put Sunken out, which would represent then 6 mana. Yeah, that's what we're doing. I'll get to 6. If I draw any other land, I will get to what I need for Vaultborn. Oh, we got the heroic. Okay. And the game seems to be glitching a little bit, lagging, which is quite strange. Maybe some of you guys have felt that before, or recently the past few days. It seemed to be bad on my phone, and I thought it was only my phone, but interesting that it's still this. Ooh, heroic. Heroic is rough. We were talking about it on the other Discord there, and okay, that certainly could do it. We'll bring in the Blast Zone to hopefully help against this, popping it to take out the favorite Hoplite and the Monastery Swiftspear. Now it's quite nice. I don't have to worry about God's Willing, which sometimes saves a specific creature, and based on a color, but Blast Zone is not a color, so God's Willing can't do that. Ooh, it's good. It's good. Hey, it's not my most fun matchup in the world. Do I like High Noon? Sometimes. Boros Heroic can cast multiple spells in a turn. They set up, they play their creatures, they cast Monstrous Rage for one, and maybe multiple Monstrous Rages, but I think Blast Zone would be good. If you take out the creatures, Boros Heroic isn't going to be doing a whole lot of anything, that's for sure. I'm going to trim Carnage Tyrant. It doesn't have haste. I might need to go fast. I might enjoy having Tyrranax Rex, and I could stick Tyrranax Rex nice and early, which, could get the job done. Could have trimmed Up the Beanstalk possibly, but I still want to try keeping that in. I want to try trimming Carnage Tyrant if I need a little bit of something. Of course, Tyrranax Rex is costlier than Carnage Tyrant, but I think I prefer having Carnage Tyrant out because it doesn't have the haste. All right, seems pretty good. Keeping the opening hand, we got Castle Garenbrig, 3 lands, Sylvan Scrying to grab the Sunken, and hopefully our chances have not sunken. Oh boy. Casualenterprise, if you're watching this back, yes, I do stream, and well, now you know. Now you know. Yikes. Virtuoso? Hopefully it's not. Okay. Double Monastery Swiftspear. That's always a good thing. Monstrous Rage. Oh, Defiant Strike. Also quite nice indeed. Hey, it powers them up beautifully. I'm just glad it's not the Virtuoso. That is oh so bad. Now we certainly don't need to force cycle the Nurturing Bristleback. Hopefully getting the Vaultborn Tyrant. Of course, Carnage Tyrant now could have felt pretty good. Okay, would have felt pretty good. Well, it's rough. It's rough. That will probably do it. Gather Courage, yes, to draw the match. But there is a couple things, James, that do a sort of similar effect. Target creature gets a little bit bigger. Yeah, making them draw. That's where it's at. Hurting them. Getting kind of flooded. You might not think that happens, but it does. Yeah. Well, not much you can do. With 20 lands, you might not think the flooding happens. It certainly feels like happens a little bit more to me, but perhaps that is confirmation bias. Whatever it's called. But that's also a thing. You might see a certain mixture. You might think you need to keep a bunch of lands. There's a very good chance you draw into it, Nurturing Bristleback, getting the extra land that you need. So you could send more lands to the bottom and, be confident of getting to what you want. It seems like it's a very fine line. Quakebringer, that would be good. Certainly the nut draw, and that is a good point, James. I mean, the nut draw with, well, anything. It is what it is. You lose. Will they always get the nut draw? They won't. So, we can attack with that angle. When they stumble a little bit, or you try and find the best way to make them stumble. Yeah. I'll just message in the other Discord while we see what we fight, get into. Okay, oof, not keeping that. My, oh my. Oof, it was painful and now it got absolutely amazing. Pretty much perfect hand. Oh, I'd rather send Carnage Tyrant to the bottom. I want to keep Ghalta. So that is the namesake in Vaultborn. Lovely stuff. But seeing a Sunken in a castle, very, very positive. Phoenix? Izzet Phoenix? I would imagine that's the case. I play the Ledger Shredder on turn 2. Hopefully we have a nice window to go with Sylvan Scrying. Consider. I didn't even have to consider what it was, because there's not a whole lot that is Izzet. That is common, red and blue. The opponent might be considering conceding pretty quick and scooping after we bash them good. As long as they don't get too many Phoenixes in the graveyard. But that goes back to the nut draw point of... Yeah, I think we just have to search for, Sunken. Sunken next turn, big time. But the nut draw point, sometimes the Phoenix opponent could get 2 Phoenixes in the graveyard super early, maybe on turn 3, maybe right now, and then you just die to the aggression. But it's not like that happens often. I would like to, kind of do the math and figure out what the percentage of that happening is. But I'm pretty sure it's not I'm certain it's not 50%. It's... if it was, more people would be playing it. If a deck's absolutely busted, crazy, powerful game plan happened so incredibly often, it would either get banned or... Well, it would probably get banned if it was too consistent. Yeah. Now, does the opponent have some counter spells? I don't know. Maybe. I'm not playing anything. Next turn I will. Could be Carnage Tyrant. If the opponent does their thing, they're mostly dead. Do they have any Phoenixes in the graveyard? Well, not yet, so we should be buying time. I have to imagine they left up the mana waiting for me to do something. So we're going to make them still not be able to do something, draw out, make them spend their mana now that they realize they shouldn't be holding up stuff. Find out. Okay. Not bad. Next turn. If they've done their thing, they're done. They at least have to spend 3 mana to get the Phoenixes from the graveyard onto the battlefield. 3 instant... Oh, surprise! I cast Carnage Tyrant by tapping 3 lands. That's efficient. And you know what that also is? Resilience. You can't Fiery Impulse Sunken or Castle Garenbrig. You can't bounce it with the Brazen Borrower, the Petty Thief or whatever it is. Yeah, keep mousing over it. Surprise. Oh, speaking of Brazen Borrower. Huh. I wonder if they were going to bounce what I played and then play the Borrower coming up. But now you can't. I kind of hope that they get Phoenixes into the graveyard, because that's going to incentivize them to tap out and spend their mana. They have to at some point. But my clock should be a little bit better. I might try and draw something out with Up the Beanstalk, the counter spell, that sort of thing. If we get a Cavern of Souls, it's all over. They certainly don't have Ether Gust. Now, they might have it in the sideboard coming in for game 2, but it feels like a pretty solid position at the moment. Oh, okay, that is That is extra good. Question becomes, do I want to take 2? Draw out the counter spell or something on Up the Beanstalk, have an opening for Archdruid's Charm. You know what, let's do that. Let's try. Either way, I think they should be dead next turn. Archdruid's Charm might have to be used to take out some creature, some big creature, but at least we gain information about the Spell Pierce. Nah. I'll wait. Oh boy, they're probably pretty certain that I have something else up my sleeve. Which is true. Maybe they're just going to hard cast the Izzet Phoenix next turn. That would be pretty good. Got to do something. Oh, the Treasure Cruise. The first Treasure Cruise of the match. Oh my god. Whoa. Okay, now they're actually dead. They tapped. They spend 5 for a Treasure Cruise. That's got to feel bad.
Good Lord, what is happening in there?
I'll take it. I'm so used to Treasure Cruise always being 1 blue, 1 blue, 1 blue. But fortunately for us, they didn't fill the graveyard too much. Now they're about to go down. It's going to be a lot of life and card draw with the Vaultborn Tyrant's super duper triggers, stacking both of them. But we have an opening to actually kill them. They're dead. We just searched for a Palani's Hatch or a Regisaur Alpha. It's put onto the battlefield with Ghalta and smoked. Put a stop at the end of the turn just so I don't miss it and completely punt this. That would not be fun. You just have to live until the opponent dies. Pretty simple. Okay. Good stuff. See you later. Found the window. Killed him. That's a lot of life. I love it. I love it. Huh. Okay, now I just have to do it again. Okay, very fortunate there. It's nice seeing 2 Sunken Citadels. Doesn't always happen, but it happens more often than you would think. Maybe you start off with 1 Sunken. Archdruid's Charm grabs the other one, or you start off with a Sunken and a Forest. Sylvan Scrying on turn 2 grabs the Castle Garenbrig. Sunken turn 1, Forest turn 2, so you have 2 mana available for the Sylvan. You're grabbing the castle, which you play as your 3rd land on turn 3. You have 3 green. You go Archdruids to search and put the 2nd Sunken out. All of a sudden, you're able to make 7 mana with that particular turn of events, or you just start off with 2 Sunkens and a Sylvan Scrying. It's kind of slow, but any number of combinations would bring the pain. Now, High Noon, that brings the pain. Is it necessary? Nah. It already feels pretty good. I don't want to make the game's plan worse. I could trim Up the Beanstalk. Certainly, that's kind of like the filler card. It's not exactly filler because it is so amazing, but it's just the thing that smooths it out, gives me more gas, elevates everything because, like I mentioned, 28 creatures, almost half the deck draws off the cast trigger from Up the Beanstalk, so I'm going to start with it. Make everything better, and then trim that for the specific sideboard pieces. But if Phoenix already feels pretty good, as it, at least for me, it feels pretty good. Keep it the same.
As many style points as you could produce.
out of nowhere, I get a perfect hand. Hashtag pre-recorded. There you go. I think I talked about it enough. I sent it out into the algorithms. We're looking at 7 mana right there. Sylvan is going to be the 8th mana. Then we have all we need. We're going to be playing Tyrranax Rex turn 4. It's going to go Sunken, Castle, Cavern, and having Cavern to protect against potential counter spells from the opponent. It's perfect. Oh! I love it when it happens. When the best fringe case scenario happens, you want it to be extra good. That's extra good. That's deadly. I'll take it. I just wish this kind of happened against that the Boros heroic match, but I still don't think it really would have saved me. Again, rough stuff with the aggro. It's not a complete wash sometimes, but it is so painful that it feels like it would have to change quite a bit from the overall plan of the deck, that it would weaken it, perhaps, or just bring in some sort of sweeper. Something. Even just taking out 2 creatures, the Illuminator Virtuoso and maybe something else, would slow them down big time. Yeah, the other Sunken. That should be good. We'll try and draw something out with the Sylvan. We don't need it at this point. We've got the Force, which is quite nice. If they're holding up that counter spell, they think they're going to slow us down, but they don't. Oh, Young Pyromancer. And this is good. The Phoenix opponent, as they sometimes do, has pivoted towards a game plan that is resilient to the graveyard hate that they think I brought in. They think I'm going to exile stuff. The Phoenixes aren't going to get out, so now they have this Pyromancer plan of making a swarm of elemental creatures. You know, going wide, dealing damage this way, getting the job done. But I don't have graveyard hate because I have their life total hate. Pretty hard to protect against that. Tyrranax Rex is just going to do it. Even just 1 would be good, but when you can have 2, you might as well. And make sure you get the job done with you know what.
Ruthless aggression.
I'm not worried. It should still be on the elemental. Interesting. Huh. They would have to completely block another Tyrranax Rex next turn to do it. They have 4 poison counters. 2 Tyrranax Rexes are hitting next turn, which would get them to 10 poison counters, and they would just die to damage. Oftentimes that is how it goes. You don't get the opponent to 10. You just beat them up with multiple T-Rexes. Either way, you win. That's the idea. Get them. I don't see them dealing 18, but Prof's Addictic Memory is pretty fantastic. That is how some Phoenix opponents have beat me in the past. They've made a big Ledger Shredder, the Treasure Cruise, for 1 blue, drawing 3 cards, putting 3 extra counters on somebody, and then other things that draw a card. Consider. The opponent could cast a Consider, plus a Treasure Cruise, plus Ledger Shredder itself with the Connive. They draw a card, then discard. So we're at a total of 5 extra cards that have been drawn that turn. But you have to draw above and beyond the first one, and yeah, the counters, it's not even temporary, it's counters, so things get big and wow. Okay, that's alright. We will be taking out the Ledger Shredder as they have to, again, completely block one of them to live. Which is good. We don't have to worry about a big Ledger Shredder. I'll take it. Ooh. Ooh. Okay. 9. Would be a little bit better taking out that one elemental. 6 plus 3 is 9 total toughness. I would only take out the Ledger Shredder and then do 2 damage to that elemental, so a little bit better that way. I get to take out 2 creatures where, well, I mean, the elemental might kill me. Hopefully that doesn't happen, but I don't feel it's going to happen. Probably. If they can't kill me, they know they have to keep somebody behind for the Tyrranax Rex. Or I could just draw Ghalta, Stampede Tyrant, and definitely get the job done with Regisaur Alpha there. Have 5 with Opt. That's a counter with Profs. 6. Well, they got a Treasure Cruise, I think. Not too bad. Sleight of Hand isn't card draw, so that's not an extra counter. So it's still 6 at the moment. I think they're digging for a Treasure Cruise, maybe. Hoping to make the elemental big enough to have enough total creatures to block and save themselves. Oh. Okay. Oh boy. This is going to be rough. It is pretty fantastic seeing Prof's Addictic Memory put in the work. As I was saying, it's done before. That's alright. It gets big. Oh, okay. Interesting. I'll take it. I like the sounds of that. Oh, don't do it. This is going to be close. I imagine the 5/5 and the 3/3 elemental would be getting the job done, but hey, I'll go with Up the Beanstalk. I can still go Regisaur Alpha by playing the Cavern of Souls. Maybe. Spell Pierce. That's alright. It happens. Do I want to pay the 2? Nah. I want to put the pressure on him even more with something even lovelier. I'll go with Regisaur just to be able to send a 3/3. I imagine they would have removal on Regisaur Alpha. Hopefully that's not going to happen. But I just wanted to attack with more. I could have played Carnage Tyrant, but I wouldn't have been able to attack with it because it doesn't have haste. This is 3 more damage, just a little bit more, taking out more elementals really is the hopeful plan. And I still have Regisaur Alpha, which could block, but again, maybe is gonna die. Man, it would have been nice to put 1 extra counter on the Tyrranax Rex, sneak through just a touch of damage and get him to those poison counters. I think it's all but guaranteed either Regisaur is bounced, is killed by a lightning axe, 2 fiery impulses. Yeah, we'll find out. At least the Treasure Cruise would cost quite a bit. The opponent only has 2 cards in their graveyard, so they can't delve for much. Okay, well, that's what I figured. All good, I hope. Vaultborn Tyrant would have been pretty nice, though. I think I might bring in Blast Zone. That'd be nice to get rid of Profs and also the Young Pyromancer. Both of those things have a mana value of 2. I like it. I like it. Where's Ghalta when you need it? Gotta be coming up, but it wouldn't really do a whole lot in this next turn. We're not dead yet. We might be next turn. I might go Vaultborn. Perhaps that will be enough to save us. I don't think that's going to be the case. They could even make Hall of the Storm Giants a creature. I suspect that's going to happen. Ooh, Up the Beanstalk. we'll try. I still could play the Vaultborn, which would be nice. Get some card draws. Oh, Ghalta. 7. That's going to do the trick, sadly. I could even play Ghalta, which is crazy. Temple Garden, shock myself. Yeah. I'll keep it the same. Really, I could have, and it would have been better to shock myself with the Temple Garden, play Ghalta, possibly could have drawn into a Regisaur Alpha or a Palani's Hatcher. Kind of kicking myself there a little bit that I didn't at least try it. There's not a 0% chance. It could have happened, and that would have been a pretty flashy way to end things, but that definitely would have been better. Better than just ending things. You might as well try. You got nothing to lose at that point. At least I have to be a little bit scared. But also, that's what I was saying about Up the Beanstalk. We get some card draw, and then it triggers with Ghalta to get an extra chance to draw into something good. Victor, how's it going? Hopefully all is well with you. Hopefully we get him this time. I think we should. A pretty lovely hand. No Castle Garenbrig or the lovely Sunken Citadel, but it's 2 and Sylvan Scrying, which gets that castle, but also Up the Beanstalk. I think it's quite reasonable. Reasonable to, figure. You'll draw into a Sunken or castle. Sylvan will get whatever else you need. Oh, do they have a Spell Pierce? Oh. Hashtag pre-recorded. There you go. 1 of 8 cards. Either one of the 4 Sunkens, one of the 4 castles. Now is the real question. It is. I feel your pain. Sylvan Scrying is far more important than Up the Beanstalk, so we'll draw out the Spell Pierce. Had to happen. Get the Spell Pierce burnt on something else, and then play Ledger Shredder. Do it. You know you want it. Okay. Phew. I'm glad you feel that way. I do appreciate it, honestly. It's like you find something different that you're facing, and it's nice because it's different, but you go about it in the right way. It's not like I'm saying, oh, this is the absolutely best thing. I'm just doing my best with this, and it certainly seems to best a lot of opponents that some people would not think. Some people would not think a dinosaur type deck would have any chance against control, and they might look at 4 Carnage Tyrants and 4 Tyrranax Rexes and just completely brush it off, and I don't know. It does. And I still feel pretty good. That's a good mention about Cavern of Souls. I started off with 4 copies. I still might up it a bit if control becomes more popular, but just having a couple to protect against the painful stuff is good. But they don't have any Phoenixes. We've stuck the Carnage Tyrant. This feels extra good. Oh, I think Izzet control is lovely. Izzet mill, actually, that reminds me. Usually it is mono blue mill, but I faced an Izzet mill deck before. How they can copy spells, and then they would copy their mill spells, and you would sometimes just die extra hard. Yeah, extra painful. It's good. Oh, absolutely. I don't think I would ever trim Cavern of Souls completely. That just seems pretty nuts. But having 1 land, but also 8 things that could grab that 1 land. It's technically like you have 9 chances to see that 1 specific card. The first Sylvan and Archdruid's Charm usually would probably be used to grab some other land, but it's still it's still a point to be made. 9 chances. That's pretty good. Is the opponent pretty dead if they play any number of spells next turn? You know it's good to play a creature that you can't counter and you can't ever target.
Yes.
You know it's good against a lot of people that want to target your creatures and counter your creatures. That's a lot of decks. Oh, Chandra Hope's Beacon, that is very deadly. I've lost to that. Sometimes that's been the win con in a Lotus Field deck, I'm pretty sure. Quite a few weeks back, maybe a month or so, I faced something featuring Chandra Hope's Beacon, and that's a pretty nasty win con. Copying their spells, sometimes it might have been an ultimatum, which maybe is overkill, but it gets the job done, and it's certainly a lot of fun. I don't know what Chandra would be my favorite if I had to choose. It's difficult. Torch of Defiance is a classic one. The other one that cost 6. Name's on the tip of my tongue. I like that too. I've actually won against a control opponent. It might be on one of the streams going back a year or so, I think. I stacked up the emblems just enough and I got the job done. Copying Alberyn's Epiphany. Ugh, rough. Ouch. Well, they still don't have any Phoenixes in their graveyard, so I think we're safe. I'm just happy they didn't get the Prof's Addictic Memory and the Pyromancers, because now I can blast through and get them. I don't imagine they're going to be able to stop it for 1. I don't have lethal with the 3 from the Picklock Prankster. Now either we lose Palani's Hatcher to Fiery Impulse or Lightning Axe, which I think is going to happen. Turns off the haste on Ghalta, but it delays the inevitable.
You have no power here.
I don't know what planeswalker speaks to me the most. Probably Huatli. That's probably just a given because she's she is the dinosaur planeswalker. And I gotta figure out if I really could fit the new version of her in when she's a creature and then she flips to Roar of the Fifth People, the enchantment saga. You make 2 3/3 dinosaurs. They don't have trample, which I don't like. The 3/3 dinos from the Lost Caverns of Ixalan, not having that was, it's not that bad, but it is nice to have trample and sneak through a little bit of damage. But then the next mode, creatures you control can tap for mana. I don't really need the tapping for mana, but it could get me to that 8th mana, maybe play Ghalta. But then if I'm playing Ghalta with that extra mana and killing the opponent on that turn, I don't need the next lore counter, which searches for a dino, but maybe I do because that would guarantee Ghalta. Just that whole package of Huatli and Roar of the Fifth People, an extra way to get there a little bit better. I didn't really read much of the lore. I know Huatli and Saheeli Rai, they're an item. Well, hey, more power to you. Good stuff, but I know they combine. I really wanted to see more artifact dinosaurs. I am quite happy that we got a few with the Lost Caverns of Ixalan. I know a lot of people were waiting for that. It's pretty neat. I'm just happy to have more dinosaurs, really. That makes me super happy. Even if it is Commander. But hopefully it's in a standard set and I can use it in Pioneer or Explorer. Kind of. We got a Sunken in a Cavern, Nurturing Bristleback to Forest Cycle. off of these two to get the next source of green. Let's give it a go. I got a good feeling about this. Yeah. As long as Thoughtseize doesn't rip Nurturing Bristleback. Now the question becomes, Orzhov. Orzhov mid-range? Perhaps? Maybe. Now getting the third land with Nurturing doesn't give me my third source of green for Archdruids. If Cavern of Souls was a forest or something, I'd want to guarantee and make sure I have 3 on turn 3. Which would mean I would want to forest cycle it now. But I'm going to wait and see what... Okay, yeah. We'll do what we got to do. Grab that Temple Garden to get my forest. Alrighty. Castle Garenbrig next turn off the top to play Carnage Tyrant, or really I would just search for a Sunken, put it out, and I think I should survive the aggression from this opponent. Oh, okay. Well, it's not a Sunken Citadel, or Castle Garenbrig, but it's still pretty decent. We still might be able to get the job done. Putting a castle out with the Archdruids will get me to 7. So if I draw a land that enters untapped, that might be it, especially with the haste from Surak and Goreclaw. Oh, the Hulking Raptor does. It's I'm back and forth on that. Do I like it? Sometimes it's not necessary. How necessary is it? Would I like something different that still elevates everything? Elevates better than Hulking Raptor, who does some things sometimes. Would I want something that does something good all the time, which Up the Beanstalk perhaps. Okay, land untapped. Kill him. Let's go. Oh boy. Oh. Yeah. Well, I can play Vaultborn Tyrant. Would I live? Don't think so. Not exactly. We'll play it. I would gain 3. Maybe the use removal, gain a... We'll find out. It does revolve quite a bit around Ghalta. If Hulking Raptor is put down with Ghalta, the 2 green doesn't really have any effect. So it just becomes a creature with 5 power, which is quite rough. Oh, they... Okay, that's all right. We're still dead, but nuts. It's too bad that the counter isn't made to get me to 2 to maybe get him. Now the question becomes Divine Smite. This is what appears to be vampires, Orzhov Vampires, and for 2 to exile likely any creature in this deck. They're all probably black or partially black. Good stuff. Let's do it. It definitely is. If I solve when I solve aggro, it's going to be lovely. Whatever that looks like, it's on the tip of my tongue. It's going to happen. It's going to get a little bit better than it is right now, certainly. That hand can't get much better. We'll send Regisaur Alpha to the bottom again with Palani's Hatcher being 3 bodies in 1. Just having those eggs, one of those eggs as a chump blocker, could buy us time. These vampires are oftentimes not trampled. Big creatures with death touch, as we saw. I'll chump an egg and stop myself from taking a lot. Might as well. Look, I suspect that the Legion Lieutenant might be somewhere in the mixture. Sylvan Scrying, it's always a land. I've said this before. If you have a Sylvan, you draw it, just get it used out of the way, grab another Sunken, and then we set up for something very deadly. Vaultborn Tyrant next turn, but Also, Archdruid's Charm could just grab Ghalta Stampede Tyrant, depending how things go. Is the opponent mostly done for if we draw land? That seems to be the case. They use removal on it, I gain more life, I draw another card. I may just draw into Ghalta Stampede Tyrant. We're getting there. We're getting there. Block the Gifted Aetherborn, block the biggest Death Touch creature. Yeah. I've played a decent bit of them. It certainly has been painful. I'm gonna play another one. I want to make sure I lock things up. This could itself just draw me into the Ghalta. Okay, there you go. Now we're feeling good. And now the opponent is dead. As long as they don't have Thoughtseize to rip Ghalta, but that's okay. I can take the I could have blocked with a token, but I wanted to have both out and stack the death that's about to befall the opponent. Ooh, painful. Now you die. Good. And you can see right here how I really didn't need Up the Beanstalk at all. It wouldn't have helped me win more. I guess that's the word.
Ruthless aggression.
Call an ambulance! Call an ambulance! But not for me.
63 life. That's crazy stuff. That's getting into Amalia life gain level. The opponent is stunned. You can see him mousing over all this stuff. I saw him mousing over all of it, but phew, yeah. Ruthless ambulance aggression. It's so ruthless you need to call an ambulance for the opponent. Yeah. It's kind of interesting though. There is certain cards that I bring in that doesn't really help. I get so many wins without it. I get many wins at matches and games in a row. I'm thinking, oh, I don't need Up the Beanstalk. I could do something different or better. But then Up the Beanstalk puts in the work. Divine Smite, I certainly didn't need it or use it in there to help. Who knows? It is very top heavy. I still think, as I move things around, Up the Beanstalk, replacing it with also something on the cheaper side of things, something else for 2, not necessarily ramp, because all of a sudden I'm flooded. I wouldn't want this to be a Thunderherd Migration or Glimpse the Core. All of that is lovely, but there's a critical moment where they become dead cards. I don't need a ton of mana. Oftentimes I'm only casting one thing. Boom. Tyrranax Rex, one thing in a turn, deadly. It's a good thing to do ahead of curve, and then I got these Sylvan Scryings and these Thunderherd Migrations, Glimpse the Cores, you get the idea. I don't need any extra lands. It's happened a little bit, well, it does tend to happen when I sprinkle in more of the ramping side of things. I think I prefer Divine Smite over Get Lost, yeah. Oh, why? Basically, the scariest things for me, it pretty much is Amalia, but also some of the black stuff. We can exile Liliana. I don't want to give the opponent extra things. And I want the exile on Amalia so they can't get it back. Get Lost is destroy, so they could reanimate it and things like that. But also, I can temporarily make something gone, a big thing. I can target things that aren't black, so that's why I landed on Divine Smite. I'm most scared of particular things that happen to be that color, so I figure I should use it because it's exile. Oh, definitely. If all it takes is to get rid of an Archfiend of the Dross, maybe, and some Rakdos variations, that sort of thing, that would be good. This hand, it's a little bit rough, not so much. I can't mulligan forever, but seeing 2 Castle Garenbrigs makes me feel pretty good. Drawing into a Sylvan Scrying or an Archdruid's Charm, a very reasonable possibility, or a Sunken. 12 chances to see the Sunken. Seems pretty decent. Divine Smite's going to buy us a bit of time. We're going to wait for the opponent to sink the 3 mana into Knight of the Ebon Legion, if they were going to do that. Now the question becomes, do I want to take out the Legion Lieutenant? I think we just get rid of the Knight. Nurturing Bristleback? We'll get another land. We definitely need it at this point, but... Oh, look. I make Nurturing Bristleback into something that can't be discarded. Likely I didn't need Nurturing Bristleback to be a creature, so play it safe. I think Tyrranax Rex would have been discarded anyways, but it might as well not take that chance of possibly losing out on a land. We don't have a Sunken. We need everything at this point to maybe not get the job done. Hey, there you go. Sometimes you get flooded with 20. Well, things that grab lands like the Nurturing Bristleback, and any number of things can happen with this game. Oh, absolutely. And also, that is a good point about Hulking Raptor. It's one thing, but it gets me ahead by 2, which is, I love how it's so efficient. Hopefully, chances are it only has to survive 1 turn to bring the pain, which is very good. It does. Absolutely. Comes down a little bit early. Sometimes I don't have much to play on turn 4. I can make that 6 with Castle Garenbrig. They both start with C. But I can make that 6, and I can only play Carnage Tyrant or nothing, because I can't have one of that be red for Regisaur or Palani's Hatcher. So just having it be Hulking Raptor, I can make 6 on turn 4, and then with Hulking I'll be able to make 8 on turn 5. Whether I draw a land or not, Hulking just increases the chance of getting them. And also Hulking itself is a creature. Up the Beanstalk, not a creature, might not draw into a creature. There's lots of good things, lots of good potential. Is there an absolutely right mix for this way to play Dinosaurs? It's hard to say. It's hard to say. Well, absolutely. I won't shy away from suggestions. Of course, it is just that. Just because somebody, provides it doesn't always mean you have to use it, but many of you guys have had good ideas that I've used, and it has made me better. Now, Palani's to the bottom. We got the haste with Surican Goreclaw, which is 6, which could be cast potentially on turn 4, like I was saying. Something for 6, a creature for 6. And then we got the Regisaur Alpha. Lovely stuff now. If I had Archdruid's Charm in hand, I'd go with Nurturing Bristleback. Make sure... I swear it's not pre-recorded. But if I had it in hand, I'd do Nurturing instead to get to that 3rd mana that I need. Yeah. Might as well be a forest. Again, we don't have anything to start off with. That is white. I don't see any Field of Ruin or Demolition Field, so I think it's still, pretty good. Pretty fantastic. Now the question becomes, Sylvan Scrying, like I mentioned, play it, use it, get it out of the way. Gonna get a Sunken. I don't have anything for 2. Castle Garenbrig would have entered the battlefield untapped. I might have been able to use the 2, but if I can't, might as well be Sunken. I want to get Sunken and Castle Garenbrig at some point, and Leyline Binding is a little bit rough. This could be 5-color Fires of Invention, Enigmatic Incarnation. They're going to sacrifice Leyline Binding, searching for a creature with a mana value of 7. They're not. Okay, well. I know what Archdruid's Charm is doing. We'll maybe wait and see what they do. There could be something so incredibly impactful that Archdruid wants to exile it. Okay. We'll take the window. Whether they had a counter spell or not, I don't think so. It's just going to be lots of enchantments. But, might as well. Oh, Quintorius. Hey, I know when I've lost. But I also know how I'm going to win. There's a little thing called High Noon. It's going to be High Doom for this opponent. Each player can't cast more than one spell a turn. That's good. If the opponent is going as slow as me, that means I will probably just kill him. And also going back to your point, Victor, about aggro. If the aggro opponent is only doing one thing a turn, that also could potentially help with the Slickshot deck especially. And that really can slow him down quite a bit. If I'm on the play and then I play High Noon on turn 2, that could be a rough hoop to jump through. Yeah. Big time. Up the Beanstalk, yeah, we're trimming the Beanstalk. But going back to that, so Discover. You exile cards from the top of your library. Exile a non-land card with a mana value based on the Discover value, this one being 4. You may cast. But they can't cast anything because they've already cast Quintorius. So it hard counters this particular deck. Leyline Binding is going to potentially exile. Well, you know what? Let's do Up the Beanstalk. We're doing it. Trim Regisaur Alpha. I was thinking of trimming Carnage Tyrant, but sticking Up the Beanstalk to draw out the Leyline Binding, which would then be followed by a High Noon, which they've already used their binding, and they might not have an answer to the High Noon, which is stopping them. Yeah. I think so. Leyline of Sanctity feels so incredibly important. This hand, I can't mulligan. I'm not. It is basically perfect. Of course, High Noon is a very good counter, but I'm just going to hope to draw into it. The second Sunken going to be chosen as white. I'm not going to mess this up. I've got the 2 green I need to activate Castle Garenbrig's ability. Yeah, there's a pretty good chance I draw one of the 4 High Noons and get them. But again, Up the Beanstalk could draw it out, which we're about to find out. Okay, a Castle Garenbrig is alright. We can play Tyrranax Rex next turn, which is fine by me. Now the opponent could do the Greater Tanuki. You'll see. They could get the combo going next turn, and there we go. Oh my goodness, I've never played the Discover combo much. Well, it's not that good. I didn't have High Noon. What more can you do? I had a thing to hurt him, and I didn't see the thing. I'll wait till they actually do it, just to make sure that they have it. Get that concede button ready. Oh! Oh! So they don't have it. Interesting. That is very, very interesting. So now they're dead. Huh. Huh. Well, all right. It's got to be it. Right? Whew.
You won! You did it!
Yeah, I was like, oh, they said good game. I'm glad my spidey senses were tingling. They said good game. They figured I'd assume that they have Quintorius and I would concede on the spot, but they didn't have Quintorius. They didn't. Oh, that goes to show that, like I was saying, how I was losing. I should have played the Temple Garden to get to 8 mana to play Ghalta, to get a draw trigger off of Up the Beanstalk in that previous match, to potentially draw that Palani's Hatcher, or yeah, we'll keep it like that. I was thinking of trimming Carnage Tyrant and bringing in Regisaur Alpha, but yeah, that is a big ouchies. Alright, well, they don't know I have High Noon, so this might be good for us. 2 chances to draw the second land. I can't do it. Can't do it. Okay, well, that's gonna be the one to hopefully get the job done. 3 lands, but really it is 7 mana. Sylvan's Crying. We'll grab a second Sunken. We're good. Good to send the other Castle Garenbrig to the bottom. Should be. I hope. Get that High Noon. Oh, okay. I like what we're doing here. We don't need to... Like, should I do it? No. I want to do it. You know what? I'll still go with Sylvan's Crying. We need to find that Sunken Citadel. I wasn't going to be making big mana on turn 3, so... Well, oh, okay. Interesting. At least we draw out a Leyline Binding. If they don't, it's going to be pain.
Grant me revenge. And if you do not listen, then the hell with you.
Yeah, okay. Phew. The opponent, it does seem, stumbled a little bit in the land department, so we got fortunate there, and fortunate we just buckled down. Didn't listen to their bluff. I have to assume it was probably a bluff in the previous game, but we'll never know. We'll never know. Yeah, I think, Victor, that would be a good reason to, retry Hulking Raptor. I'm certainly up for just about anything. Yeah, within reason, and also having some nights where I try things more on the fun side. But for the most part, it is going to be devastating. Lovely potential right there. A lovely hand as well. And yeah, have a good night. Good morning, evening, afternoon, whenever it is. Got a bunch more stuff to do. Laundry and organizing my tools from the previous week. Got a couple new tools this weekend as well, which was pretty fun. But yeah. All right. See you next time. Peace. Gonna get it. 3 seconds again. It's gonna be...